They have human being feelings and support to the Palestinians, and some part of them working hard to support the Palestinians and Israelis as well. In addition, there are part of the Jewish people here saying, hey, we are not agree with Israeli actions because they are doing this on behalf of our Judaism. So as Israel declared itself as a state for a Jewish state. So they are saying, no, we are not let this government or not agree with this government to do any human actions on behalf of us, on behalf of our religion. We are not going to do, we are not agree with Israeli governments to do their personal and their factional interests on behalf on the or using the name of our Judaism or our religion. So they are disagree with what's happening on Israel and in Palestinian territories from the Israeli government, either the wall or settlements, expansion of settlement. They are not. They are against the siege and a human siege on Gaza, and those people trying to help the Palestinian side or to help the Israeli other factions who are looking for peace, to implement peace and to implement to bring the two people together to live in peace and security together. So in Israel itself, there are many factions and many peace groups are working hard to explain to the world the dangers of the criminals that these governments are doing. They saying we are afraid in the future of being the Israeli people or the Israeli governments or Israel itself as a government being recognized as a criminal. You know, it's a criminal and against the international law, did the criminal international crime and the human crime. So they're afraid from the future. The crimes will not be deleted by the years and by the time. So one day, I think some of the Israeli leaders will be bring to the international court, international justice court, and to be accused for international crimes. Cumulative punishment is a international crime. Killing people in mass number, killing kids, not letting fuel to get a certain area that are the area that living under occupation. This is a violation of the human rights laws. So those people in Israel and on United States also, they are afraid about Israel, and they are interested in supporting Israel more than the people who are doing these action on the ground. Those people who are in position, I mean, in the administration over there. So I believe people who are the peace groups in Israel, the Jewish people here in the United States, many Jewish groups in the United States are afraid about Israel, and they have interest to support Israel more than those people who are practicing illegal and human act on the ground.
Yes. Could you talk a little bit about the division between Fatah, the former rulers of Palestinian state, and then Hamas was elected just a few years ago by the people to rule Palestine, but then the power was taken away from Hamas by some constitutional code, I believe, because of the violent situation, I assume. But could you talk a little bit about that division between Fatah and Hamas?
I think the problem is not in Hamas. The problem in the occupation and the problem in the international deals with the Palestinian Authority. When Hamas elected in a fair way, and people vote to Hamas because they are not fundamentalist people. They are voting for a change. Here in the United States, they are voting for a change. So people, they didn't see any progress in peace process or in their life the last 15 years with Fatah. So they trying to vote to another party who raised the slogan or the slogan of a change and reform. Hamas says change and reform, and people elected Hamas for change and reform. And this issue, the elections asked to be implemented over there by the American government, by Israel, and by the European community. And I remember when President Arafat told them, if we did the elections, Hamas will be elected. So we know the results. The Americans and the Israelis told, no, we need the elections. So we did the elections, and Israel and the United States know previously that Hamas will be elected. So when Hamas elected, they found it as a justification for Israeli plan not to go forward in the peace process, not to deal with the new government and with the new elected people. Hamas announced in the first 2 months of her period that they will recognize Israel if Israel go further a step, recognize the Palestinian states in territories of 1976. I mean, 22% of the historical Palestine. So the Hamas agreed on the international resolutions to agree to recognize Israel in this term. If Israel recognized the Palestinian rights, we have no problem to recognize the the state of Israel and to live side by side with Israel. This is a big progress, a huge and crucial progress that done by Hamas in 2 months in her age of the government. But in that time, Israel prevent to give us our money from the tax, saying Israel collected the out tax of our export and import, so they didn't transfer our monthly taxes to the Palestinian Authority. They started to make a complete siege on Gaza. So instead of dealing with Hamas, with the Hamas initiative to talk with Israel, to talk with the European community, to talk with the American, no, they closed the doors in front of Hamas and says, no, we are not going to talk with Hamas and we are going to implement a siege. It was a great opportunity for the international community and for Israel to find the Islamic fundamentalist or Islamic groups to say we are going to recognize Israel if we cooperate with it, if we have cooperation together in many fields, and if our government be revitalized, be revival, and if they help us to give a hope for the people in Gaza and West Bank. So Hamas, it's a good chance in that time being Hamas change from resistance to political venue to be in position to deal with the international community. And the question here, why Israel and the United States used to talk with Hamas before the election for more than 7 years to deal with them directly and indirectly. The United States used to talk with Hamas directly with a high level representative from the American administrations used to deal with Hamas or to have talks with Hamas. Israel used to deal with Hamas, and by the way, Israel, the founder of Hamas in the early 70s, so or the mid of 70s. So I don't know why they wouldn't like when Hamas elected fairly. They wouldn't like to talk with the new government, the representative of the Palestinian people, in the time that this government or those representatives saying we need to talk with Israel, we need to talk with the United European Community and United States. The answer is clear: they wouldn't like peace. They wouldn't like to talk with the Palestinians. They need every time to have a justification for their action to find a reason why we are not going forward in peace talks, why we are not going forward in implementing our Palestinian, or giving the Palestinians their states. They investing in the time by building and expanding the settlements, the Israeli settlements in West Bank. So this is the main reason. They're wasting the time and investing in this time by building more settlements, by expanding the current settlements in West Bank areas.
And the settlements are considered illegal under international law because they're on the Palestinian side of the 1967 borders, which was agreed to by the international community, by Palestinian Authority, and by Israel. Now, I hear that there's a move towards opening up a checkpoint that has been closed for some time, and Israeli peace groups, Gush Shalom and others, and Palestinian peace groups are going to work together to try to bring water purifiers through this closed checkpoint. And that's coming up in January 26th. Could you talk a little bit about that, and if there's any local actions here in Cleveland?
This rally is initiated by two sides: Palestinian professionals from Gaza Mental Health Program and Gush Hashalom from Israel. They are trying and making attempts to have the attention of the international people, to the international community about what's happening in Gaza. Cutting the fuel on Gaza, cutting electricity on Gaza, make the sewage treatment stations to be out of order. So the water, the drinking water mixed with the sewage. So people fall ill in Gaza more by cutting fuel and cutting electricity, and hospital does not work. So a lot of people have kidney failure as a result of the water quality. So in 26, they have one of the rallies from the two sides, from areas checkpoints, two sides, Palestinian and Israelis, and Israeli people trying to bring with them water purification or purification, yes, water purification to send it for people in Gaza, to let them at least to have a drinking water. They can purify the water and they drink it. At least they are trying in this March in 26 to give medication for people in Gaza, especially for kids and especially for women in bad need for medication and elderly people in Gaza. So I think this this rally that initiated by Gush Hashalom as a big group in Israel,